My aunt wasn't crying at my grandfather's funeral. She was smiling. Not a sad, reminiscent smile, but a cold, greedy smirk. She stood by the grave wearing designer sunglasses, checking her watch every 5 minutes. She thought she had won. She thought the mansion, the fleet of luxury cars, and the millions in the bank were finally hers. And what did I get? A rusty, dented metal box that looked like it had been dug out of a trash heap. She thought she had thrown me out like garbage. She thought I was just a broke college dropout who lost everything. But she didn't know that inside that rusty box was a secret that would not only save me, but completely destroy her entire life. When the will was read, the room went dead silent. And the revenge I got, the internet calls it nuclear revenge. This is my story. My name is Daniel. Growing up, my life was simple. After my dad passed away in a car accident when I was 7, Grandpa became my entire world. He wasn't just a grandfather. He was my mentor, my father figure, and my best friend. He was a self-made man who built a logistics empire from nothing. He always told me, "Daniel, never judge the value of something by how shiny it is on the outside. Real value is always hidden." I didn't know how true those words would become until years later. But then, there was my Aunt Karen. Grandpa's daughter, but you wouldn't know it by looking at her. Where Grandpa was kind and humble, Karen was a shark. She was already wealthy, running a marketing firm, but she was obsessed with status. She drove a Porsche, wore $5,000 suits, and looked down on anyone who made less than 6 figures, including me and my mom. When Grandpa got sick with terminal cancer, everything changed. The doctors gave him 6 months. I was in my junior year of college studying engineering. I didn't think twice. I dropped out. I packed my bags and moved into Grandpa's estate to take care of him. I spent every single day feeding him, washing him, reading to him, and just holding his hand when the pain got too bad. It was the hardest year of my life, but I don't regret a second of it. But my aunt? She didn't visit once. Not once in a whole year. I would call her and say, "Auntie, Grandpa is asking for you. Please, just come for an hour." And she would always have an excuse. "I have a board meeting, Daniel. I'm in Paris for Fashion Week, Daniel. Don't guilt trip me, I'm busy." The only time she showed up was on Christmas, and she didn't bring a gift. Instead, she asked Grandpa if he had updated his life insurance policy. I saw the look of heartbreak in Grandpa's eyes. That night he told me, "I know who loves me, Daniel, and I know who loves my wallet." Then came the terrible day when Grandpa left us. I was devastated. I felt like I had lost my anchor. But while I was grieving, crying in the hallway, Aunt Karen was already at work. The morning of the funeral, literally hours before we lowered him into the ground, she was walking around the mansion with a roll of neon green stickers. She was tagging furniture. She slapped a sticker on the antique grandfather clock. Mine. She put a sticker on the 80-inch TV. Mine. She even put a sticker on Grandpa's favorite leather armchair. I tried to stop her. I said, "Aunt Karen, please, can we just have some respect? He's not even buried yet." She turned to me, peeled an apple with a knife she found in the kitchen, and said with a cold, dead stare, "Grow up, Daniel. Respect doesn't pay the bills. Look, I'm selling this house as soon as the probate clears. You and your mom have been leeching off him long enough. You have 48 hours to pack your bags and get out. If you're not gone by Friday, I'm calling the police to remove trespassers." I felt the ground disappear beneath my feet. I had no degree, no job, and no savings because I had spent everything caring for Grandpa. We were about to be homeless. But I stayed silent. I bit my tongue until it bled because I trusted Grandpa. He told me he had a plan. The day of the will reading arrived. The atmosphere in the lawyer's office was thick with tension. It was a massive oak conference table. On one side, my aunt, her husband, and her 2 spoiled kids. They were whispering and giggling, already planning their vacations to the Maldives. On the other side, just me and my mom, holding hands, terrified. The lawyer, Mr. Henderson, a stern old man who had been Grandpa's friend for 40 years, sat at the head of the table.
He looked at Aunt Karen with pure disgust, but he opened the file. I hereby leave my daughter Karen all of my physical property and real estate assets, Mr. Henderson read. This includes the city mansion, the summer house in the Hamptons, the fleet of luxury vehicles, including the vintage Bentley and the new Mercedes G-Wagon, and my primary business bank accounts. My aunt literally screamed with joy. She slammed her hand on the table and pointed at me. Did you hear that? It's all mine. I told you, you get nothing, you loser. Her kids started laughing, high-fiving each other. Mom, can I have the Bentley? Her son asked. Sure, honey, it's ours now, she smirked. But Mr. Henderson cleared his throat loudly. Sit down, Karen. I am not finished. There is one final item. The room went quiet. To my grandson, Daniel, because he was the only one who sacrificed his time and future to care for me in my final days, I leave the small, rusted iron box kept in the bottom drawer of my wardrobe, and everything contained within it. My aunt stared for a second, and then she burst out laughing. It was a cruel, mocking laugh that filled the room. An iron box? You mean that piece of junk he kept his old war medals in? Wow, Daniel, congrats. Now you have a lunchbox to take to the homeless shelter. She wiped a tear of laughter from her eye. Oh, Dad really had a sense of humor in the end. I felt humiliated. My face was burning. I walked up to the table, took that heavy, dirty, cold metal box, and walked out of the office with my mom. As the door closed, I could still hear them laughing at me. That night was the lowest point of my life. We were staying in a cheap, dirty motel on the outskirts of town because it was all we could afford. The room smelled like stale cigarettes. My mom was asleep, exhausted from crying. I sat on the edge of the bed, angry. I looked at the box. I wanted to throw it through the window. Why, Grandpa? I whispered. Why did you leave her everything and leave me this trash? I grabbed a screwdriver and pried the rusted lid open. I expected maybe some cash, maybe a gold watch. But inside, there was nothing shiny. Just some old yellowing papers and a weird, heavy key. My heart sank. I felt completely hopeless. I thought Grandpa had lost his mind in the end. I almost threw the papers in the trash can. But then, I saw a sticky note attached to the papers, in Grandpa's shaky handwriting. It read, Daniel, remember what I said. Real value is hidden. Check the coordinates. I unfolded the papers. It was a land deed, but not for a house and not for a commercial building. It was for a patch of barren, desert scrubland about 50 miles outside the city. I looked it up on my phone. It was in the middle of nowhere. Just rocks and dirt. It seemed worthless. I went to sleep thinking I had failed. The next morning, purely out of curiosity, I drove out to the location. I had to see it. When I got there, I didn't see a barren wasteland. I saw trucks, massive industrial drilling trucks, and a team of men in hard hats. I panicked. I ran over to them. Hey, what are you doing? This is private property. A man in a white suit walked over to me. He looked like a serious businessman. Are you Daniel? He asked. I nodded, confused. We've been trying to find the owner of this land for 3 years. Your grandfather wouldn't sell. He said he was saving it for someone special.
Why? I asked. It's just dirt. The man smiled and pulled out a geological survey map. Son, do you have any idea what you're standing on? This isn't just dirt. This land is sitting directly on top of one of the largest, purest lithium deposits in the state. With the electric car boom, this dirt is more valuable than gold. I froze. The papers in the box were the unrestricted mineral and ownership deeds. Grandpa knew. He knew all along. The mining company didn't just want to buy the land. They wanted to lease the mining rights. I sat in a boardroom 3 days later and signed a deal. The signing bonus alone was $4.5 million. Plus, I retained 5% royalties on all minerals extracted for the next 20 years. In one signature, I went from homeless to a multi-millionaire. But the story doesn't end there. The money was great, but the justice? That was sweet. About a month later, I was looking at penthouse apartments in the city when my phone rang. It was Mr. Henderson, the lawyer. "Daniel," he said, his voice sounding, "your Aunt Karen is in my office. She wants to see you, urgently." I drove to the lawyer's office, but this time I wasn't taking the bus. I pulled up in my brand new Audi R8. I walked into the office wearing a tailored suit. When I entered the room, the vibe had completely changed. Aunt Karen was sitting there, but the smirk was gone. She looked sick. Her skin was pale, her eyes were red from crying, and her hands were shaking. "Daniel," she thanked God you're here. "What's wrong, Auntie?" I asked, sitting down comfortably. "Enjoying the mansion?" She put her head in her hands. "It's a trap. It was all a trap." It turned out Grandpa had played the long game. The mansion she inherited? Grandpa had taken out 3 massive mortgages on it to fund his business years ago. The debt on the house was higher than its value. It was underwater. The luxury cars? They were all leased under the company name, and the leases were expiring that month. And the business accounts? They were technically empty, but they were attached to the company's tax profile. The company owed the IRS over $500,000 in back taxes. By fighting so hard to be the sole beneficiary of the physical property and the business, she had legally accepted all the liabilities and debts attached to them. She didn't inherit wealth. She inherited about $4 million in immediate debt. She was drowning. The bank was foreclosing on her own house to cover the costs. She fell to her knees, grabbing my hand, crying, "Daniel, please. We are family. You have to help me. Grandpa wouldn't want this. I'm going to lose everything." I looked down at her. I remembered her tagging the furniture. I remembered her kicking me out. I remembered her laughing at my rusty box. I pulled my hand away, smiled, and said, "Grandpa gave you exactly what you wanted, Karen. You wanted the appearance of wealth. I got the real value." I stood up to leave. "And sorry, Auntie, I can't help you. I only have an old, rusty lunchbox. What could I possibly afford?" I walked out of that office, and I have never spoken to her since. Today, I'm traveling the world, investing in startups, and living the life Grandpa wanted for me. And my aunt? She had to declare bankruptcy. She lost her business, her house, and her car. Last I heard, she's working as a receptionist at a dental clinic, living in a tiny rented apartment, dodging debt collectors. Guys, this is what we call instant karma. Greed blinded her, but patience gave me everything. If you enjoyed this story, smash that like button and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, stay safe.